Welcome to Alibaba Cloud Academy for the Cloud Certification course. In this session, we will introduce the comparison of ApsaraDB for ClickHouse to other competitive products. So first thing first, let's compare the ApsaraDB for ClickHouse versus user-created ClickHouse. So we break those factors into 5 parts, and the first one is the data linkage. Considering about the data linkage, we're going to say that ApsaraDB for ClickHouse can use the DataWorks to do the data integration or task scheduler. But for the self-build ClickHouse, you have to self-build the data linkage. And considering the materialized MySQL linkage, in self-built ClickHouse, it is a task-level synchronization of function and database. However, in ApsaraDB for ClickHouse, it's a production-level real-time synchronization of function and table. And for the middleware linkage, it's same to use the Kafka. However, ApsaraDB for ClickHouse provides the Kafka engine, which is cloud operating, to help you save the operation cost. And also for the log data delivery, which is a very typical scenario in ClickHouse usage. So for self-built ClickHouse, it doesn't provide the log data delivery. However, ApsaraDB for ClickHouse supports SLS log delivery. And then turning to the kernel part. So Alibaba Cloud do a lot of enhancement based on the community kernel. And for example, like in the resource management. So in self-built ClickHouse, the global resources distributed generally. Like you could not sell like resource queue as the ApsaraDB for ClickHouse do. It could help our enterprise customer to ensure that always have the priority of the important query and users. And to the next part is that our bug fix can do it bi-weekly, and considering a very important feature, which is the hot code data separation. So in self-built ClickHouse, you have to build the hot code data separation by yourself, the mechanism. But in ApsaraDB for ClickHouse is a built-in function. You just need one click to tier the hot and cold data. And then you could also like set the rules. It can help you to tier the hot code data automatically. And the third factor that we are talking about mostly in the database is the operating and maintenance. So there's a lot of functions in operating and maintenance. Let's focusing on the most important one, which is the cluster scaling. So to do the scale up or scale down, scale in, or scale out. In self-built ClickHouse, you have to manually scaling, but in the ApsaraDB for ClickHouse, it supports the online scaling. And after you horizontally scale out, the data will distribute a balance, which is a feature function of ApsaraDB for ClickHouse as well. So considering about the database management systems, in ApsaraDB for ClickHouse, it provides the enterprise-level DMS, as well as the online resource monitor, customized alert, and also the slow SQL monitor. It will help you to do the instance diagnosis. And also it supports the online upgrade. To the next part is the security. Considering the database security, you need to worry about the access control as well as the backup restoration. So in both parts, in access control, the ApsaraDB for ClickHouse, as we mentioned before, it supports VPC and whitelist to ensure the data security and to control the access. On the other hand, considering the backup restoration, in self-built ClickHouse, you have to do it manually. But for ApsaraDB for ClickHouse, you can do it within one click and backup for free. And the last part is the operation cost. So generally, you need, especially for our enterprise customer, requires at least one operating engineer. However, if you use the Alibaba Cloud for ApsaraDB for ClickHouse, you need 0 human cost on operation, because Alibaba Cloud do the maintenance for you. So we are talking about like the cost, right? So let's go to see what's the cost comparison between the self-built ClickHouse with ApsaraDB for ClickHouse. So based on our international side of ApsaraDB for ClickHouse, we could see that if you want to acquire a high availability double replica edition, which is 8-core, 32 gigabytes with 100 of gigabytes standard SSD, it will cost you $8,600 per year. If you only want to buy ECS and do the self-build ClickHouse based on that, so the equal size of ECS is the ECS.G7.2 extra large for building ClickHouse high availability instance with 100 gigabyte of standard SSD, which gonna cost you $6,800 per year. However, considering about the human cost, there is zero cost in human cost as we mentioned before, because the database maintenance is taken care of by Alibaba Cloud. And comparing to the self-build solution, so as we mentioned before, it will require at least one operating engineer. And suppose there's a engineer monthly salary is $2,000 in US dollar. And let's assume the engineer has 30% workload about the DBA. The labor cost is gonna be $7,200 per year. So let's compare the total cost. In the total cost, the cloud self-built ClickHouse is gonna cost you about $14,000 per year. However, comparing to ApsaraDB for ClickHouse, it only costs you $8,600 per year. We could see a 39% of cost saving. And let's get into the next slides for comparing the ApsaraDB for ClickHouse versus AnalyticDB. Actually, the ApsaraDB for ClickHouse and AnalyticDB MySQL and also the AnalyticDB PostgreSQL, it has the different usage scenarios. We are going to describe it one by one to help you understand which is the best case to use the following products. So for ApsaraDB for ClickHouse, it generally has the low frequency of delete and updates. That is a very important key feature about the ClickHouse scenarios. If you have a situation that has a high frequency of delete and update, you may go to considering about the AnalyticDB at this stage. And to the next one is the large volume of data. So the three OLAP products can support the large volume of data. And however, for the ClickHouse, it always requires no complex drawing. And if you have complex drawing, you may want to get into the AnalyticDB for MySQL or using the PostgreSQL. So to summarize, we can see that the feature of ClickHouse made it like a perfect fit for doing the user behavior analysis, which doesn't require a high frequency of delete and update, and also is good for doing the user portrait, and of course the A/B test. So let's see the AnalyticDB MySQL. So AnalyticDB MySQL is also support our Double 11 shopping festival. And it's a perfect fit for the internet or gaming or SaaS, or even for the security, utility, and also the medication systems, which need a high volume of data through output. And turning to the AnalyticDB for PostgreSQL, we can see that it generally used in traditional applications. So for example, like finance, like the banking applications, it's a perfect fit to replacing the data warehouse in the traditional industry. So for example, like the solution of Greenplum plus Oracle. And that's it. Hope this session will gonna help you.